Hi everyone, it's John Costin from Foodie A1C.com. Welcome to my first ever video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of going out to eat, what we're going to do is I'm actually cooking today. So might as well show that to everyone. Today what I'm doing is I'm cooking a Filipino dish called Kare Kare. It's a dish with meat, but the sauce is peanut based. Actually, the word Kare Kare is is derived from curry, so it has its influences there. But the dish itself is not very highly spiced. It's not spicy. It's not hot. But the main ingredients are meat, and the typical ingredient for it is oxtail. And I have that boiling right now. I've had it boiling for a little bit. Right now, I'm actually going to be adding pork hocks as well, to give this a little more depth of flavor. So we got that in there. We're gonna let that boil for a little bit. A little later on, I'm going to be, part of this cooking this dish is sauteing. So I'm gonna be using a lot of garlic, some onions, and then I'm gonna be making the peanut sauce for it. So, I'm gonna see you guys in a little bit. We're actually making the sauce for the Kare Kare. What I like to do is actually prepare the basic ingredients first. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sauteing some garlic and onions. And actually I can throw it onto the wok right now to get it cooking. The garlic cooked. Some onions. Smells so good. Oh, by the way, I hate cooking with an electric stove. I'd rather have the flames. So I can't do anything about it right now since I live in this small apartment. So I gotta make do. And what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to take some broth from the still boiling oxtail and use the broth, which is, has a lot of flavor already, and use that to make the sauce with. So the one point that I'd like to make is that I'm not going to be making this. I'm going to be adding a little bit of salt via I'm actually going to be using fish sauce, but that's later. But I'm not going to be using a lot. I mean, it's not going to be the dish itself is not going to be salty, because it's usually eaten traditionally with shrimp paste, which is contains a lot of salt. But go ahead, if you don't want to eat it with shrimp paste, or shrimp paste is not available to you, you can certainly use fish sauce. You can use salt. In order to get a little bit more flavor from the dish. But I think this onion is good now. It's nice and soft. And this is going to be a stew. So use as much as little broth, to make your sauce. I'm also making kind of a lot of food. When I was growing up, this was a special occasion dish. Meaning I only, it was only prepared during, for example, birthdays, that sort of thing. But here in the United States, you can actually, there's a lot of Filipino restaurants that offer it. So it's become more common, at least here. But back in the Philippines, it's still, it's still a special occasion dish. Also, what I want to point out is, in the Philippines, when this is cooked in the Philippines, they use fresh peanuts. And what usually my grandmother used to do is she used to pound peanuts, fresh peanuts, with a mortar and pestle. But here in the United States, sadly, I don't have a mortar and pestle. I would love to have one someday, But what we can do is we can use peanut butter. And that's up to you what brand you use. I like this particular brand because basically all you have to do is just scoop up some peanuts, you know, as much as little as you wish, you know, for the dish to have that peanut flavor. If you want a strong peanut flavor, use a lot by all means. But I'm not going to use a lot. I don't think it needs that much, personally speaking. Again, you know, it's up to you how you want to cook yours. And that's perfectly natural. You know, if it gets too sticky for your tastes, you can always ladle on some more broth. And that's the way you adjust it. So that's the way I make my sauce. And the final step to this is, you know, when this is done, you know, I'll add the fish sauce a little bit just to give it a little bit flavor. Not a lot, again. Oh, I almost forgot. I have this one ingredient. I found it in my cupboard. It's actually, you know, they call it a stew base mix, this is the stew base, right? What it is pounded rice or rice flour. There's some spices in there, salt, pepper, and I think the most important part of this particular ingredient is the grounded annatto seeds. It basically adds a yellow tinge to the dish. So as paprika, or I forgot what the Indians use, or the Thais use, but it basically aids and it gives the dish a nice yellow orangey tinge. So if you can see that. And because of the rice flour, it actually makes it a little more thicker than just, you know, when you add the peanut butter. The only part that I don't like about this is that when it hits the hot boiling liquid, it starts to clump up. So all you have to do is kind of squeeze down, I guess, with your ladle, with the spatula or whatever you're cooking with, and yeah, just make sure it's incorporated very well. So as you can see now, it's kind of orangey, yellowish. You can add as much as little as you want. Okay, I think we're done with the sauce. We're just gonna do, you know, we're waiting for you know, for the meat to tenderize some more, and then we'll go ahead and add that in, and then add our vegetables, and then we're done. So we're getting close, guys. The sauce is made. The meat are tender, fall apart tender, more than just fork tender, which is the way I like it. It's very good flavor as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the veggies that are going to go into the dish. And the veggies I'm using today are some long beans. They call these white beans. I know they're green, but for some reason there are other varieties of beans that are, you know, greener and darker than this. Maybe that's why they call it white beans. So who knows? I'm also using Chinese eggplants. I'm also using some baby bok choy, or Chinese cabbage. There's, you know, you can use regular cabbage if you want. You can use Napa cabbage. I've seen that done before, but I like using this. It's easier, a little easier to handle. All I have to do is basically cut off the stems and just plop it in the dish. That's actually a big eggplant. And that's a lot for this dish. And eggplant is actually one of my favorite vegetables. Just because it soaks up a lot of the flavor. If you've had eggplant parm, if you've cooked it or seen it cooked, you'll notice that eggplant basically absorbs a lot of, especially if you fried it, it absorbs a lot of the oil. And it's no different here, it absorbs a lot of the flavor. So,
A few moments later.
So we're finally done with cooking our Kare Kare. So this is the final product. I'm actually kind of hungry. Actually, I'm a lot hungry. Just cooking this all day and smelling all the wonderful smells and aromas coming out of the kitchen. So I'm going to be enjoying myself with this delectable meal. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna go eat now. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave me a comment if you have any questions regarding the food. I really don't have a recipe for it. It's basically something that I learned by watching like my grandmother cook the food, and also watching some videos, just getting some ideas. But for the most part, I learned cooking just by watching. Sometimes I read the recipes, but just to get the concepts down is good enough for me. So again, if you like it, thumbs up, leave me a comment below, and I'll see you on the next video.